What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is a video you guys have been asking me to make for quite some time, so we're finally doing it on a set of GR headlights. So as you guys can tell by the thumbnail, totally going to show you guys how to build some headlights today. This is probably like the 700th headlight set I've built. I've built a lot of headlights. I've been doing headlights for like 6 years now, just as like a side hustle kind of thing, but I enjoy doing them. This is actually a subscriber set of headlights, so I'm going to walk you guys through how to do this. We're going to do this like old video style today. Let's go over the tools and stuff that you're going to need first, and then we'll jump into like starting to tear apart the headlights. Before we jump into the headlights though, the BRZ, it's still acting up. I've taken it to Intech twice now. I'm taking it up there again today. Lawrence, the main tuner up there, is going to take a look at the car, so there's probably going to be an intermission somewhere in this video of me dipping out for like 2 or 3 hours or so to let them play with the car, but I'll totally give you guys an update on the BRZ. But let's get into some headlights. So I'm going to show you guys how to turn those headlights into these headlights. So these are OEM WRX GR headlights. They're 11 to 14 or 08 to 14. These ones have been blacked out. They have a Diode Dynamics RGBW demon eye in there with some custom etched like honeycomb style lenses. They've also been converted over to LED low beams with the projector re-aimed so that way you're not blinding people with the Morimoto 2-stroke LEDs. As you can see on the back, I'll show you the back side of the headlight after I get it disconnected from that battery over there just to stop the showy fun stuff. But I'm gonna show you guys how to do it on this one. So tools that you're gonna need for this, you're gonna need 2 vice grips or 2 clampy doodads. I forgot the actual names of those, but you're gonna need 2 of them. You're also gonna need a drill bits, gloves, a Red Bull if you want some energy. You're gonna need a lighter or some heat source for some heat shrink, a variety of flathead screwdrivers, a Phillips head screwdriver, a Dremel, whatever paint color you like. I like the Krylon paint. I've had the best success with the Krylon. You're also gonna need a 5/16 wrench. This one I have ground down quite a bit. You'll see why I ground that down here in a little bit. You're gonna need new headlight sealant. This is Budol headlamp sealant. This is Diode Dynamics. Morimoto makes their own. It's called like retro rubber, something like that. They all do the same thing. Grab whatever box you want. This is our LED low beam setup. When we get to that, I'll show you guys that. This is our custom etched lens. If I can fish it out of here without getting fingerprints all over it. Come on, come on. So this is our custom etched lens. They do the etching on the back side, so that way when you look through the front side, it looks distorted and all sorts of types. All sorts of fun. All sorts of fun. You're gonna need, obviously, wire crimps, the wiring, everything that goes with the headlights. The rest of it is over on the back side of that headlight plugged in. You're also gonna need a dummy lens. I've got a handful of these laying around. You'll see why we need a dummy lens here soon, but let's get to cracking into this headlight here. So first we're gonna start disassembling all the wiring and the screws off the back side. This is mainly gonna be like a top-down video from up here. So let me get this headlight put to the side, and I'll show you guys what to start doing on this. All right, you guys, so this is our stock WRX headlight. Nothing done to it, still stock. First thing we need to do is go through here and strip everything off. I'm gonna start pulling wiring off, every single bulb, all of the screws that hold the bucket to the lens. There's generally about 5 or 6 of them. After we do that, we're ready to throw this guy in the oven and start baking it. At this point, we now have the headlight stripped down. Make sure you do clean off your mating surface also, whatever you're using as a table. You don't want any like grit, sand, or anything like that to scratch up the lens. This one is getting polished when I'm done with it. But as you can see on the backside, wiring is off. All bulbs are out. You should only have like 3 or 4 of them. And then the 5 bolts retaining the bucket to the lens are now out. This guy's ready to go in the oven. I'm gonna go throw this in the oven at the lowest setting on the oven. I think it's about 170 degrees for about 5 to 10 minutes. You're gonna know when it's warm enough. Put your forearm to it. You want it warm. You don't want it to burn you. Just get it to that nice warm feeling. We'll bring it back to the bench, and then I'll show you guys how to open this up. Pulled this out of the oven. It is rather warm. We're gonna start down in the lower corner down here on the bottom. This is typically where I start on these tabs. Ooh, yeah, this guy's toasty. This might take 1 or 2 heat cycles to get it going, but you're gonna wanna start with 1 screwdriver in there. Just get it under the lip and then just work your way around. You don't wanna force anything. You don't wanna break anything. Normally I go through and I break all of these tabs free. Don't literally break them, but just lift them up over their little mounting position, and you can see it starting to come apart. So just work your way around the bottom, get it free a little bit. You want to get this corner out as much as you can. Do a flip job, and then start going on the top and doing the exact same thing. Typically, I try to get it to the point where I can stick my screwdriver all the way in, and then that just creates a permanent gap there. Now, when I said this might take 1 or 2 heat cycles, that means sometimes you just gotta work it a little bit more because you don't wanna force this thing apart if it doesn't wanna come apart. And so you're just gonna work it up and around very gently. Very gently, just be gentle. You can break the sealant going around it if you want, just so it doesn't stick back down. So as you can see, that top seal is broken all the way down. I'm gonna flip it back over to the bottom. We're gonna do the same thing. So I can pull this apart now actually. Let's do that. So, pull that screwdriver out. When it comes to pulling these apart, you wanna pull away on the lens. Once you get to this point, once you get to this top corner up here, you wanna pull out on the lens. So we are free. I just gotta get the sealant off. And wablam, we've got a split apart headlight. This is the part that can be a little annoying to do. So we need to take all of this out. The easiest part is obviously going to be this reflector over here. It's just 2 Phillips head screws, one on the top, one on the bottom. You just pull those right out, right out. The reflector just pulls right out, so it's not a huge struggle to try to get it out. And now we're just left with this. So first up, you'll see this screw right up here. We're gonna have to take that out before doing anything else. This is fun, you guys, learning how to build headlights together. So now that we have that screw out, it gives us access to the 5/16 screw right there. That's where you're gonna need this like super thin 5/16 wrench that I ground down. If you have a thin one, you can make it work. If not, just grind one down. Now on the back side, you're gonna see 2 of these bolts. There's one right there. There's another one deep down in there. Those are the 8mm screws that aim the headlight projector itself. So we need to start loosening those so that way this comes out. But don't go full send and full loosen those because you're gonna snap that piece on the back side and it's not gonna be fun. We're just gonna loosen them a little bit, get it out enough to where we have access to be able to get this guy onto that. Actually, I could probably get it on there now. All right, once you've gotten that screw right in there, loosened as much as you can, then we're gonna go over to the back side here. Make sure you're holding the projector, and we're just gonna loosen these 2 8s all the way. And that's gonna push the projector right out. Try to do them as evenly as possible. Free, baby boy! Well, blam, this is where things get fun. So now that we have the projector actually free, the first thing that we're gonna do is get the demon eye in here and get that lens swapped out. So there's gonna be 4 screws on the front, pull those off. That'll free the projector from this little housing guy. So now this shroud piece can come off. Now, if you wanted to paint your high beam bowl any like reflective color you want, now would be the time to do so. We're leaving these silver, so we're not gonna end up painting these. So the first thing we're gonna do is get this lens swapped out. This is when you're gonna need that dummy lens. So on the back side, there's 4 more screws. We're just gonna pull those out. Then we can separate these. So there's our reflector piece in there. That's the lens that we're swapping. This is where it can get a little dangerous. So first up, to get this lens out, there's these small locking tabs going around the outside of the headlight lens, or the actual lens itself. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the back side of a dummy lens, get it centered in there, and then you're gonna take a rag or something and you're gonna push on it, and that's gonna unlock the tabs. You'll hear it like click into place. And then you'll see that all the tabs have been depressed going around that. So then we set it down, take the rag and just bloop it right out. And now the old lens is out. So these are dummy lenses. I keep them around just to do that. And then to get the new lens in, significantly easier. I would put a rag or something down for this part. We're just gonna end up dropping the lens in straight. We can always wipe fingerprints off, so don't be too afraid of fingerprints. And then just click it into place. Now, our new headlight lens is in. Super easy to do. Not too bad. We're gonna set that aside for now though, because we're not quite ready to assemble this guy, because now we gotta get the demon eye on. So in your hardware bag, there should be like the world's tiniest screw and nut. Don't lose that, you're gonna need that. The first thing that we're gonna do on this is go ahead and pull off these pieces together, and then you'll see on the top we have these 2 tabs. We're gonna take the Dremel, we're just gonna slice those right off, so that way we can, you'll see why, but cut the tabs off. As you guys can see on that tab, I just took off about 1/8 of an inch on the top of it. That's just gonna make it so that way we can fit the demon eye. I'm just using a 3/32 drill bit. It's a pretty small drill bit. Don't need a massive one. So what we're gonna do here is line up the demon eye on the top of this and then just do a small hole. Stick our screw up from the bottom, just like so. Put the demon eye on top and put the bolt on. I'm gonna get this tightened down. This is a little bit of a pain to tighten down, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna do it, we're gonna get it. Now we have our demon eye bolted up to the headlight. So the smaller end, the Phillips head screw is gonna go on the bottom, the nut's gonna go on the top, we can then just set our piece that we trimmed down earlier right back on there. I'm actually gonna clean that up just a little bit more. So ideally, you want everything on the headlights to go together without any force. What I had to do is there's a small resistor box on the bottom of the Demon Eye on the back side. I had to trim down the top of it just a little bit more. I was just using a file to be able to get it on there. Just go ahead and get it on there, and then we can go ahead and bolt all this back up. So now we have our Demon Eye and our lens swapped over. This is the hardest part. We're done with it. Getting the Demon Eye fitted on there, just make sure there's clearance on everything. This one has plenty of clearance. You do have some cooling fins like right on the top of the Demon Eye. Just make sure those aren't obstructed. They shouldn't be. If you are swapping the lens, now is the time to go ahead and, well, you can wait on cleaning it actually, we got more to do. I did blow this out with a little bit of compressed air. If you do have a can of compressed air and an air compressor, just go ahead and clean out the inside of this because you don't want any dust or particulate floating around in there. But we can go ahead and get this guy bolted up back to our shroud. Now, if you guys wanted to, now is a good time to check and make sure that the Demon Eye works. Make sure everything's good. I pre-checked these, so I'm not gonna do that, but if you want to, just hook it up to a power source, pull out the Bluetooth app, turn it on, and make sure everything is good to go. Like I said, I've already done that, so I'm gonna get this guy back in the bucket, so that way it's just one less thing that we're gonna have to do here in a little bit. Now we have our Demon Eye installed, we have our new lens in here. Next up is to start painting. We need to take this shroud out. There's only a couple of these Phillips head screws holding it in. If you guys want, make sure you guys separate your bolts as you're going through this too, so that way you don't lose anything. All right, we have all 4 screws out. Now we don't just want to go ripping this thing out. If you look up in the corner, there is a small tab right up in there. And if you just go ripping it out, you're gonna break the tab. So what you're gonna wanna do is just move the sealant up and out of the way on it, or at least cut it free. If you want, you can use a heat gun. Makes it a little bit, actually makes it a hell of a lot easier. The sealant's gonna become super gummy and you can just kind of peel it away. And bam, our shroud is free. Now, for this set of headlights, we're only painting this main piece and the reflector and the high beam. So what I like to do is go through with some sandpaper, and we're gonna clean it up afterwards, but the sandpaper is really gonna help the paint stick onto the surface just because it's a lot more rough. Trying to get paint to stick on like the pure little chrome finish that's on here is just, it's awful to try to do. It can come off over time, and this just makes it last that much longer. Next up, we're gonna start painting. Like I said, I like this Krylon paint. I've had good results with it. When you do this, you wanna do it in light coats. You don't wanna go heavy at all. If you go heavy, it's gonna run, and then you're gonna have to sand everything back down, and then it becomes like a 2 to 3 day project. So that's a pretty light coat. We're gonna let that dry for a little bit. Then we'll come back, we'll do a couple more small coats like this. After all the small coats are done, we're gonna have to let this dry for quite some time. I'm gonna let it dry for probably about 6 hours. Whenever you go to paint these housings, if you don't let them dry fully, what is happening is you have off-gassing of the chemicals in the aerosol can. So if you go to reassemble it too quickly with all of this, you're gonna start getting like etching on the inside of the OEM plastic lens, like the outside lens, not the glass one that we did earlier. So we're gonna let this fully dry. I'm gonna do a couple more coats. We'll come back in a little bit because I gotta swing up to Intech anyways, and we'll see how the paint looks. So just got back from Intech. The BRZ is alive and well, so that is very good news, but you guys will hear about that in a different video. We're building headlights right now. So painted pieces are done. So I did a lot, probably 5 or 6 light coats of this black paint. This is just satin black Krylon. It's paint and primer, so that way it'll adhere to what we sanded pretty well. So first up, we're gonna get the reflector pieces back in the bucket, then we're gonna get this guy back in the lens. After that, we're gonna start sealing up this headlight, get it resealed, put back together, and start on wiring everything, because that's gonna be the fun part that no one ever likes to do. So reassembly process is gonna be the exact same as disassembly, so I'm just gonna time lapse going through all this, and then I'll show you guys how to reassemble all of this. All right, this is where we're gonna start reassembling the headlight to the lens and getting it all sealed back up. Now, what is retro rubber or butyl sealant? It's this strip sealant pretty much. What I do is I'll rip off a piece, I'll cut it and I'll stretch it out a little bit, and then we're just gonna inlay it into the bucket grooves. I like to push it down with a screwdriver. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I prefer to do it that way. So I'm gonna get some of this new stripped butyl put in here, get the lens kind of set up in here. We're gonna bake these again at 170 degrees for about 5 to 10 minutes, get it nice nice and warm, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to fully reassemble these headlights, get them sealed, and we'll move on to wiring. So now we have a bucket that is fully assembled, ready to go. So as you guys have seen, we have the new lens in there, we have the demon eye put in there, we've painted everything, it is all solid. At this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and slide the lens back on over this. Once the lens is on, we're gonna go throw it in the oven, 170 degrees, get it nice and up to temp, and then start resealing. Just pulled the headlight out of the oven. You do need to be a little bit quick on this part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna close these clamps a little bit. We're gonna start clamping the headlight together and locking this shut. You don't wanna be snapping anything, so make sure that the clamps aren't on there like crazy tight. So the way we're gonna put this together is reverse of how we took it out. We're gonna start in the corners. We're gonna start in the corners and work our way in. I do not suggest using a power tool for this. You're gonna strip out the threads on the inside of the lens. I've done it more than I should. And we want a little bit of squeeze out. If you don't know what squeeze out is, it is essentially when you have sealant coming out of the holes that you are threading these into. You don't need a lot, just need a little bit. So after you have those 3 corner screws in, you can go ahead and start squeezing the headlight together. I like to start on the bottom. You can start on whatever sides you want though. You're gonna wanna get the tabs all lined up and pushed back in just to get that seal created. You'll know the headlight is pretty much fully sealed when you start to see squeeze out going along the edges. You don't need to see a lot of it, just a very small bead. And when the edges of the bucket and the lens meet back up. So we are pretty solid all the way around this headlight. It doesn't even look like it was opened up to begin with, and now we have our new setup. But we still have a lot to do. We still have to wire in everything, get the backside reassembled, and get everything put back together nicely so that way we don't have any leaks. It's plug and play for the customer and be good to go. So let this cool down and then we'll jump on it. Alright guys, so this is how I have the wiring set up on this one. I did cut the OEM harness and solder the connector back on a lot shorter. I cut off probably about a total of like 3 inches of wire off of each side, and just trimmed it back to make sure everything would fit. We got this plug sealed up. So this is the OEM plug. This is where the new wiring harness for the LED comes out of, since we shortened the wiring here because this wiring plugs directly into this, and without having to tap holes in the backside of this cap, you're less likely to get moisture going through the bottom of this. This is also sealed, so it does have sealant on the inside of that grommet, so that way no water gets in. On the other headlight, I drilled and sealed holes for this. On this one, I just put some 3M tape. I didn't have any other screws that would fit on that one, so this one's held on with 3M tape right now. It'll get the job done. It's totally fine. I just need to let it cure and actually sit on there a little bit longer. But this headlight is now done. I do want to test it just to make sure that everything works. So I'll show you guys kind of how I test these. But we have a completed headlight here. I'll polish it and get it cleaned up off camera. So we're going to plug our demon eye into the main wiring harness here. I have jumped this wiring harness so that way I can hook it up to a battery, but essentially you have one ground coming off of the harness, and then on the actual wiring harness I just made extensions for power and ground just to be able to test these. So let me wrap the 2 grounds around the battery. I need this guy for the power. Hey, we have demon eye, look at that. So this is the finished result. These demon eyes work off of a Bluetooth controller, which you download the app on your phone. So I just have the Diode Dynamic app on my phone. I can go in here, I can change these to whatever color I want. If I want them like purple, I can do purple. If I want like a yellowish color, if I want like a greenish color, blue, I can go into like a pattern. We'll do 7-color crossfade, which I believe it's on right now, and we'll turn the speed up to 100%, and it's just going to change colors to whatever we want. So super easy to build headlights. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be. They're kind of fun too. I wouldn't use these for anything other than show purposes, because if you go to use these while you're driving, you will get pulled over. So there you guys have it, man. That's how you build a set of headlights. All right, you guys, there you go. That is essentially how you build headlights. This is a very basic build that I do for a lot of people. Well, I used to, because I used to do headlights full time. Now I just kind of do them rarely, but demon eyes, etched lenses, blackout, reseal. Those headlights will be solid for 3 to 5 years at minimum before anything bad happens. Diode Dynamics has a really good warranty on them. They're super cool too, look. You do all sorts of like color changing stuff with them. It's all controlled by your phone too, but I hope this video helps you guys out, because you guys have been asking for this one for a while, and I finally had an opportunity to show you guys. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button and turn it blue like the Subaru. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up. Got a lot of good stuff coming. We just got the BRZ fixed via the dual. The tune is fixed on the BRZ, so now we can actually play with the turbo setup on the car. EG33 stuff coming soon for the STI. We got parts coming in and much more. I mean, you can learn to do random stuff like build headlights like this. So with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies. Woo!